Hi, welcome to a Catgirl Reads Warhammer 40,000, where I explore new Warhammer lore in novels and shorts after returning from a long break from the hobby. Please let me know what you think with a comment and like and subscribe for more. If you've joined us partway through and would like to catch up on previous chapters, or skip ahead to the next one, you can find a playlist linked in the video description. The disparate splinters of the Emperor's children eke out a violent, hedonistic existence between the stars, raiding and ravaging worlds according to their appetites. Seeking sensation above all else, life is vicious and short-lived for the sons of the Third Legion. But for proud Xantine, leader of the Adored and a true son of Fulgrim, pillaging backwater worlds is simply not enough. He wants more, and soon he finds what he's been searching for. Serene, a planet festering under misrule, cut off from the Imperium by warp storms. It is a world characterized by cruelty and inequality, and one that sits upon a stockpile of rejuvenate treatments destined for the Imperium's most rich and powerful. Too tantalizing a prize to ignore, the Adored set out to bring perfection to Serene. But perfection is an elusive concept, and threats soon make themselves known as they begin to expose the rot at the heart of Xantine's perfect rule. Welcome to Renegades, Lord of Excess, by Rich McCormick. Prologue. She held him in a lover's embrace. He had seen such things before. The slaves of Canticle City, in stolen moments when their masters were insensate or their attentions were elsewhere. Not simple lust, as powerful as it was, but real love. Eyes across a room, hands in furtive hands. He had seen them on the surface of Terra, 10 millennia ago, as he and his legion unleashed their unbound potential. Some tried to fight, but most collapsed to the broken ground, supplicating themselves, weeping, or simply waiting for the end. He knew the lovers from the way they folded into each other, falling together like binary stars in front of his blade and his passions. The way they hurled their frames towards him, each clawing to be the one to give their flesh, their soul, their existence away so that the other might live a second longer. He had drunk of the sensation of millions, but it was lovers who tasted the sweetest. It was their embrace he longed to feel. It was bliss. It had to be bliss. The most perfect sensation. Why else would beings give their lives for another? She had his life now, and he had hers. He had explored the limits of sensation, violence and murder, betrayal and debasement. But this was something more perverse to his brain. To be comfortable, to be vulnerable. His stomach churned, and he shifted in her embrace, trying to rebalance their power. Two souls shifted around each other, rearranging urges, thoughts and dreams before settling together again. Two souls entwined. Two souls in one body. She was his, he reminded himself. Always she was his. And then something flashed past, something shiny and beautiful, something new. He ignored it, studiously, still searching for bliss with the persistence of a hunting canid. But she saw it, and she wavered, distracted. She moved to pull away. Silk-soft skin slipped through his fingers. Gossamer hair, she was his. Why would she leave? He reached out with his whole being, desperate to draw her close, aching for her warmth. "Don't go," he breathed, but the words wilted on his tongue. Her body was smoke, and it curled away from his grasping fingers. His twin hearts thumping, he howled a wordless cry that left parted lips. And he searched, increasingly desperate for her touch, groping this way and that, until finally he found a hand. He pulled, her body followed. She fought for a moment, twisting her being away before relenting. She relaxed into him, and he sighed, sensation licking at his consciousness. Her skin smooth, her scent sublime, her soul. She slid probing hands up his stomach. They traced along oiled skin, skipping over scars and around sockets until they reached his chest. A bearer's touch across the corded muscle covering the solid slab of his breastbone. The hands slipped higher still until they were around his throat. Needle-sharp nails as pinpricks on exposed skin, ready to pierce. He squeezed hard, and pleasure became pain. Xantine came into reality, nearly choking. He felt his hands around his neck. Skin soft, but grip ceramite strong. Nails penetrated skin, and he felt the trickle of blood, cooling as it slipped past the gorget of his Mark IV power armor, and stained the collar of his bodysuit. He threw his hands to his throat, fighting through narrowing vision to claw the attacker away, but he found nothing there. He gulped hard, and the air finally came, rushing down his throat, satiating his burning lungs. He breathed, shallow at first, his armored chest rising and falling to a frantic rhythm, his twin hearts operating a syncopated backbeat. He consciously slowed his physiology. He was a millennia removed from his indoctrination, but he still remembered how to use his body as an instrument. He sucked in a long, deep breath. The air tasted rich and sweet on his tongue, like overripe fruit left in the sun, like home. His elongated pupils contracted slowly, adjusting to his reality. There was cacophony. Sirens blared, their music discordant, and to Xantine's extreme tastes, delightful. He would have loved nothing more than to revel in their sound, but he knew their troubled meaning. The frigate, Exaltation, had been hurled from the warp much earlier than expected. He and his warband, the Adored, made up primarily of Emperor's Children's Space Marine deemed traitorous extremists by the Imperium, had been set on a course to meet with other remnants of the Third Legion. The journey was long and difficult, and was scheduled to take weeks, if not months of travel. A spike of adrenaline hit his bloodstream. Chemical's effect boosted his impotency by apothecaries of the Emperor's Children millennia before. His reality sharpened. From his throne in the pleasure chamber of the Exaltation, Xantine saw colour, gold in the chandeliers that hung from the high ceiling, impurities in the metal rotting green over centuries in the void, blues fading to black in the darkened corners of the vast space, hidden places that the sultry orange glow of candles and lumens couldn't pierce, the tan, beige, ochre, and brown of human skin flayed from dying bodies and stretched between diamond-tipped set overhead. Faces in the leathery material lay open in wordless screams that had lasted centuries. Beneath the throne, in a space that resembled an orchestra pit, he saw spurts of turquoise and cyan, magenta shot through with yellow, white or silver. The colours danced across the armour of his warriors. His Adored, sparred with razor-sharp dueling sabres, or cradled foaming, steaming bowls of narcotics that filled the air with their heady scent. And he saw red. So much red. Red of all shades, crimson, vermilion, ruby, and wine, splashed against cogitators across frescoes, encrusted on tapestries and dangled from above, swaying lightly at a discordant melody, disturbed the air, and stained onto huge, heavy curtains that framed the room's window to the void. Between those curtains, a vast viewport, a pearl, pastel pink and perfect. It hung in black space, as if it had been placed on a velvet cushion, shiny, beautiful, and new. Of all the locations in the galaxy, the Exaltation had been flung from the warp within touching distance of a new world. A jewel, said a voice at the nape of his neck. A voice not heard, but felt, in his fingers, in his muscles and his bones, in all of the body that they shared, the one who held him like a lover, the one whose hands had slipped around his throat, Xantine. A pretty bauble and a distraction. You promised me, my love. She had no form, not on this plane of base pleasures, but Xantine knew she was staring at the world, feline eyes hungry. He felt her desire, always so close to the surface. It was an ache, an all-encompassing thing, as it ever was. She was desire incarnate, once one of Slaanesh's favoured companions, who, despite her privileged seat at the Dark Prince's side, had taken leave of the comfortable confines of his palace to savour the tastes of the galaxy. He had taken her, or she had taken him, on the planet of Calliope. She had wandered too far, too naive in her desperation, and been imprisoned by Eldari captors, locked away from sensation, satisfaction, and all that made her whole for a millennia, until Xantine had freed her, had shared his physical form with her in exchange for her power. She was weakened by thousands of years in captivity, but her strength was intoxicating. The Lord of Excess waits for me. He needs me. He needs us. Her power had given him his own warband, his adored, and his own ship. It had given him strength to break free from Abaddon's yoke, tearing off the black of the Wardmaster's children of torment, the royal purple and riotous pink of his own Emperor's children. It had clarified his purpose. We must continue, my love. Do not allow yourself to be consumed by base pleasure. Slaanesh can offer you so much more. The world floated in the viewport. He watched it hungrily. I have to say, I'm really excited to see where this goes. I don't think they've ever really explored a possessed space marine in this way before. I like how they've characterized them as two separate entities, each with their own will, and yet they have this shared kind of course, and they both have their own impact on one another. And it's a mutual relationship, but I like that it's already sowing the seeds of conflict between the two. I think it'll be really interesting to explore. Anyway, let's continue. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I hope that you enjoyed this chapter. If you have any thoughts or feedback, please drop a comment and let me know what you think. If you'd like to see more, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out some of our other channel content here or live on Twitch, like game streams, community game nights, and miniature painting streams. You can also join our Discord for a lovely community and weekly movie nights. Or follow us on socials, like Twitter, Reddit, or Facebook for my silly meme posts. Anyway, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world. Mwah!